The following podcast is intended for mature audiences. Enjoy the show.
Hey gamers, this podcast was recorded in front of a live studio audience, held against their will.
The following podcast contains content not suitable for young audiences. That includes you, little Jimmy.
That's not even a
Games.
shoot 'em up though.
Games of all sizes and shapes. If you have a big peen or small peen, you're welcome here.
What?
Yeah, what, Sky?
I'm just saying
what?
that we don't discriminate.
Wait, what, Sky?
Big peens and small peens are welcome. No peens are welcome. Everyone's welcome. That's what I'm trying to say.
Unless you're under 13.
Unless you're under 13. No peens welcome.
Well,
You
you
can tune
can
into our
be under
kids'
13,
channel.
just don't tell your parents.
And don't tell us how old you are either.
Make sure you ask your parents before
Yeah.
logging online.
To look at our kids'
Well, aren't you supposed to be like 14 or 13, whatever age to make a YouTube account?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people lie about that, though.
Well, of course.
Yeah, I lied about it on Facebook.
Yeah,
when
I
I
lied about it on
too.
my Xbox 360
I lied about it
account.
on MySpace back in the day. I was like 22 on MySpace.
It's not okay to lie, guys. Go log in to you. Go. If you create an account, and you're under 13 or whatever it is. Then go to YouTube Kids.
If you
Yeah.
create
We're
an
not there.
account and you're under 13, please report yourself to the authorities and let them deal with you justly.
Yeah, and then go to YouTube Kids. That's the only solution, guys.
But if you're 14, like the person I met yesterday,
Or
which
13.
I don't.
I can be 13.
Oh, you can be 13.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, if you're 13 or older, welcome. But yeah, so I just want to tell a quick story. We were at Walmart last night, which I'm sure no one's heard of Walmart because it's only in
What's
our
that?
local area. I was printing off a picture for something, and a man sitting next to me sat and chatted with me, and he subscribed, and he said he's going to be a fan now, so I don't remember his name.
I got a question. Who
Okay.
joined the Discord last night at 2 in.
That was
It
a
might have
friend.
been Thane's.
Was that Dane's friend?
One of Thane's. Thane's been doing some advertising too.
Yeah, and I said, hey, bro, there's a guy at work. Hey, bro, you should come join our Discord. It's like, okay.
I didn't know that.
But he hasn't joined. It's like, I don't know. It's like, okay. But I sent him an invite, and he joined anyways. So
That's awesome.
Last night.
Yeah.
Welcome. Did everyone welcome him?
I
No, it
Did
was
you welcome
really
him?
It's
late.
2 in. What?
Did you welcome him right now?
No.
You should welcome him right now. Say,
Okay.
hey, welcome, friend. Welcome.
So you don't know
I
what
won't say his
Discord
name
his
on
name
there.
is.
I don't even use Discord really. Just on my computer.
His name on there is pretty funny.
I didn't even get a notification because
It's
I
Brown
deleted that
Man.
Discord.
His name's Brown Man on Discord.
Is that reminds me? Do you guys didn't really watch a lot of Rooster Teeth? Maybe Thane did. Thane, did you watch Rooster Teeth like Achievement Hunter back in the day?
I watched Achievement Hunter.
Okay, remember Ray?
I think so. Yeah.
His gamer tag was Brown Man. Yeah, that's what that reminds me of anyway.
Dude.
Ray's not even a part of Achievement Hunter. anymore.
Achievement
He
Hunter
left.
was the tits back in the day, dude. It helped me get so many achievements. Like I remember I was going for every achievement in Call of Duty Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2. Those were my go-to videos.
What's funny is that like Achievement Hunter doesn't really even do achievements anymore. They kind of just do whatever. They definitely became something else. They realized
Well,
achievements aren't super popular anymore.
Yeah, I don't think I remember when Xbox 360 first came out and they introduced achievements. That was like the goal. It was like, man, I did this, and you get gamer score, which means nothing other than you get a bunch of numbers by your name.
But it was
The
cool to
only
have a
ones really-
huge score.
Yeah.
The only ones that never really got ever caught on to was Nintendo, but that didn't stop people from actually like Super Smash Brothers. That didn't stop them from actually putting achievements in the game, like a little board that says, "Get all these challenges."
So I actually knew a guy that was an achievement hunter back in the day when I was actually working at the game store, and he would always point out and tell me about games that you could get a lot of achievements that were worth a lot of a gamer score really quickly. But the one that always stuck out to me the most was there was an Avatar: The Last Airbender game. I think it was called Avatar: The Burning Earth, I believe,
It's
on the
second
Xbox
one, wasn't
360.
it? Based off this book too.
Yes, I
Yeah.
believe it was the second one.
Huh.
And there's 4 achievements in that game. And maybe there was 5 because I know Gamerscore had to add up to a certain number for every single game, and
Wasn't
it was
it 1,000?
at least 500, I think, at the early days, and then now it is 1,000. Yes,
And then with DLC,
Or-
it added even more.
unless it was
Yeah.
1,000 back then, I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, he told me about the Avatar game. You can get every achievement in the game within the first 5 minutes of playing the game if you do it right, and which is like an extra 500 to 1,000 gamer score in 5
Wow.
minutes. That's just like
Yeah.
a very quick boost to your gamer score.
What I like though is you could go through and look at every game that everyone else has played.
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
see what other
yeah.
achievements
Mhm.
they have gotten. So whenever I'd see him play a weird game, I'm like, ha ha ha, loser.
Dude,
That's what I would think.
You do
That's what
it.
I would think.
Like this guy's been playing Peggle too.
Yeah,
what a
like
nerd.
what kind of game is that, dude?
He's getting
like
pegged
that-
in Peggle.
And he has like a ton of points for him. I'm
I
like, dude,
forget-
come on, just get it the real way from another game.
Well,
But
I
no.
definitely am guilty of that because my dad would buy and fix Xbox 360s back in the day, and they would always come with Kung Fu Panda and Lego Indiana Jones. So I played those 2 games. I had like at least 9 copies of both of them, and I would always play them because the achievements were really easy. But I still have 2 copies of Kung Fu Panda upstairs in my DVD case for some reason.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think Lego Indiana Jones is up there somewhere. But
Wait, weren't they like a double pack though?
sometimes.
Oh, so sometimes they were just separate.
Mm-hmm.
That's really
Yeah.
weird that they were
Mhm.
different.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Uh,
Were you gonna say?
but now no one really cares about achievements.
No, but well,
Yeah.
you know what we should do? We should go back and because I think I have like 20,000 gamer score, which in all reality is pretty less than impressive for the console being out over 10 years now.
I have
Almost 10 years.
two achievements that I'm proud of in my entire life on Xbox 360.
Was the Halo one we did? For
Yes,
the
that's
24-hour
one of
stream.
them. That's
Okay.
one of them. The
That is?
annual. Yep.
Okay.
And the other one is I don't remember what it's called, but it's you get a double kill splatter in Halo 3 free for all in a mongoose.
Oh my
Nice.
I think it's like I know it's called Mongoose Mowdown. That's what it's called. The achievement's called
Wow.
Mongoose Mowdown. It took me so long to get it.
You just ride around on
Every
it.
free for all match I joined up, I got on the monkeys and splattered so many people, and I won a couple of games splattering people.
Oh my god!
But I didn't get double kills until one fateful game, and I was so proud of it.
So, so
I did that for the
actually,
katana, by the way.
so I actually did look up the hardest achievement ever, like to get, and one guy deduced that it was apparently in the game Tempest, like it's an old arcade game that was ported to like Xbox Live, and the achievement is like reach level 90, and you go look at the world leaderboard, and the highest is 79. So no one's got it.
Jeez.
Wow. Well, that sounds almost impossible then.
Yeah. Even
But-
one of the developers said it's probably impossible to get.
Well,
we'll still
didn't-
leave it there.
Didn't
Gosh.
wasn't there one for Halo where it was like beat the game on Legendary without dying?
No, well, probably, yeah, but the one that is most quoted as the hardest one is beat the Master Chief Collection Lasso, which is Legendary All Skulls On, within, I want to say 10 hours or 15 hours.
So that's the newest
Whoa.
one.
Yeah, that's the
No,
Master
I'm
Chief
talking about.
Collection.
Sorry, I should have
Speedrun
clarified. Halo 3
Oh, Halo
specifically.
3.
Wasn't there one where it was beat the whole game on Legendary
I
without
couldn't
dying?
tell you.
Or maybe it was beat the last mission on Legendary without getting hit.
Could be that, yeah.
Whoa,
I
that's
can't remember.
hard.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Um,
Like it's like an unachievable feat that
Yeah.
I don't
Then-
think people could get.
Those missions are like those games where it says without dying or without killing anything or without even what's the other one? I've seen those ones are like impossible if you play it on
Yeah.
Legendary,
Yeah,
dude, or
mhm.
like
There's
shooting
one-
it all. Like
There's one,
Those are
the
so
Halo
weird.
2 Lasso, the Halo 2 Legendary All Skulls On achievement. That one says beat it within an hour.
Oh my
Beat the entire
Whoa.
game within an hour, I think is what it
Whoa.
is.
You're joking.
So you have to be a speedrunner essentially to get that achievement.
Oh my
Which is it maybe it's okay. I might be mistaken. It might be an hour or 3 hours, but still 3 hours.
That's so
Legendary All
crazy.
Skulls on Halo 2. That's just like a
No.
death wish right there.
No. No.
I remember
No.
my least favorite achievements though in some of those games were like similar to what Zay was just saying, but like play through the mission without letting your Marines die or something like that. Make sure
Those
all
are
of your
always so
Marines
dumb.
live.
Mhm.
They're like,
Oh.
gosh dang, dude, that's hard.
But I
Yeah.
mean, I think that obviously not that I think, but obviously achievements were made back in the day for like hardcore people. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah.
for somebody to say, "Wow, I did that!" Like, check me out, how awesome I am. Like, for casual guys like us, back in the day when I was a kid, I liked to get them, but I don't give a rip now. I don't even look up achievements in games anymore.
I'm gonna see if I can find it on this thing. What my buddy's gamer score is.
Do you know what your gamer
There it
score
is.
is?
I can tell you mine, yeah, but let me just tell my buddies real quick.
I guess there's the modern day achievement would be the challenges then, right? Now the challenges that you have to complete, like you have to do a bunch
probably,
of things.
So this guy, he has 549,180 gamer score.
Dear Lord.
Half a mil.
Is that the Xbox app?
Yeah, that's the Xbox app.
I'm going to download that really quick because I want to check mine.
My gamer score is 20,127.
See, that sounds about like what mine is.
I think you have more than me.
I might, but Slade's been playing my Xbox for the last 5 years, probably 4 years.
I played a lot of games.
Not saying that. I mean, I definitely earned most of that gamer score because I would try to complete games. But what pissed me off is I remember I think it was Modern Warfare 2 or Modern Warfare 3. I almost had all the achievements, and then they added DLC, and I'm like, well, I can't never get those because I'm never buying it. DLC was like a what's the word I'm looking for? My mom and dad would never buy it for me.
Really?
Yeah, they would be like,
I guess.
you want to pay $15 for 4 more maps?
I always had to buy my own DLC too, I guess. But I guess sometimes I got like Xbox Live cards for my birthday or something.
Yeah.
I remember. You remember when it was Microsoft points?
Yeah.
1,600 Microsoft points is roughly $20. What is up with that? Why was that a big thing back in that era? Making your own currency for online games.
I don't know, but everyone hated it.
Microsoft
it was
Points
so
is still
dumb.
around too, though.
Well, you
No,
can't.
they got rid of them.
Yeah, you can't buy them, but you have them on your account. They still are there.
Like if
Oh
you
no,
put-
you can't buy them. No, you can earn them though by doing things.
Yes, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's
Okay,
true,
okay.
yeah.
So if you have a card that's 800 points, it's just gonna convert to $10 if you put it in there. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So thank you, Cole, for sneaking that achievement discussion in my hosting episode.
Oh yeah, this
But-
is Thane's hosting
Yeah.
episode.
I didn't try to sneak it in. What did I say that snuck it in?
Hold on, let me show you guys. Let me read you guys my
I kind
gamer
of
score.
triggered it with saying, "Hey, you guys, remember this achievement?"
Is that bad?
Kind of started talking about
What
achievements.
achievement did I say? I don't remember anymore.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find. Okay, I'm at 28,555.
I think he
gamer
just said
score.
achievement hunter, and he worked with
Oh,
someone.
Yeah.
that's what it was. Yeah.
I don't.
But anyways,
yeah.
let's save that for another podcast. Maybe Cole can bring it up.
Thane,
Well, let's just talk
I
about it
wa- I
all
just
right
wanna-
now.
I just want to point out real quick.
Let's just talk about it right now.
Every beginning of the podcast is always just crazy until we
Yeah.
get to the actual
To the meat and bones.
the meat and bones.
I
of
know,
it.
but we were trying to make,
But-
but it sounded
but-
like a whole nother topic for a whole nother episode.
That's
so I
how it
wanna
always
save
is,
that.
though.
I
Last
want
week
to
we
save
talked
that
about
for.
like
I want to save it
music
for
or
another.
something.
I want to save it for
Fortnite
another.
has achievements. I didn't even know this. You can get achievements to Fortnite.
Clout Slate over there.
Apex
Has
Legends.
Xbox.
Call of Duty Infinite Warfare.
One
See,
time-
look, Minecraft has 24,000 or 2,400
I
points.
used to have
you
the
can earn.
100% until they updated the game more.
Yeah. I remember I did 100 the game I 100%ed Red Dead Redemption. It didn't count the achievements, so I still had to get all those achievements. But I was like, you know what? The game says 100%. Give me the achievement. I'm done. I'm not.
Yeah, see, look, this is the one I was talking about, Black Ops. I got it 100%, and then they added DLC.
Oh yeah.
Bull crap, man.
That's what happened to me in
Yeah.
Halo 3. I would have had it too because I had all the DLC for Halo 3, but some of them were just so freaking hard to get in Halo 3.
Wait, wasn't the DLC for Modern Warfare 2 for like that carnival level and
Yes.
then the trailer level?
Yep,
that
yep,
was
yep.
cool. The trailer part.
I remember like watching the
When
trailers
those came
and
out,
stuff.
dude, I remember that. Everyone was
Yeah.
like downloading it. It's like, oh, the
Oh,
new
yeah.
maps are so
Like, oh, can't buy the
cool, yeah.
clown. Blah blah blah. You
I'm
can't buy
awesome,
the
Cole.
clown.
I'm awesome. Modern Warfare 2, 100%. I've got 100% on here, guys. Suck it.
Nice. I think one game I have 100% on PS3 is Sly Cooper, actually, because I collected.
I got 2. I got Modern Warfare.
I didn't 100% the game, but the trophies, which is what PlayStation added later, the trophy support. They they said like when I got all the vaults, they said, okay, you got all the trophies, you got the platinum trophy for this game. It's like, what about all the time trials? And I tried the first level time trials, like, this is too hard.
This is too hard.
And besides, you know what? In the European version, you actually get something for doing all the time trials. In the American version,
You get like a free shirt.
nothing.
You get like a shirt sent to
Nothing.
your house or something.
You get nothing.
But in the
You get nothing.
in Europe-
Good day, sir.
in Europe, do they send you like a shirt or a mug?
No, you just get like the Japanese ending. Like,
Oh,
For the Jap-
that's not really giving you anything.
yeah, I
It's
know. It's just a
They
cutscene.
just give you that.
Yeah.
They just
Yeah.
give you what they programmed into
So-
the game.
So yeah, like in Japan, in the Japanese version of Sly Cooper, they animated their own intros and they put that as like a little bonus in the European version, but in the American version you only get the opening, you don't get the ending. So yeah,
Ooh, they leave you hanging.
yeah, it
that
kind of
sucks.
sucks.
You know what I've always liked the games have done is when you beat a game on Legendary and you get an alternate ending. I've always thought that that's so cool.
I agree. Yeah.
Like Halo's the first one I remember.
You
Like
beat it on
you beat-
Legendary.
you beat
The
Halo
only-
1.
The only game I know that's called Legendary is Halo, by the way. So
Okay, sorry. When you beat games on the hardest
What, they're always
difficulty,
heroic
Yeah.
or like
yeah, it's hardened or veteran.
or suicidal. They always have that one too.
Yeah.
I kind of wish
And,
I
like,
could have got
Doom.
Or
this.
you're
but
gonna die.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I could have got this, but Arkham Knight, the game doesn't end after the final boss. You actually have to 100% the game to get the true ending.
That's
Really?
cool though, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. With Batman thing, isn't it Arkham Asylum that every difficulty you beat it on, you get a different ending? Is it that one?
No, you just
Is
get a
it?
different achievement.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it was a different ending for each difficulty. Oh, okay.
I don't remember what game that is. There is a game where like if you beat it, you get a different ending depending on the difficulty.
Oh, okay.
One game I know is Drakengard 2, where in order to get the best ending, you have to beat it on the hardest difficulty,
Mm-hmm.
and it locks you on that hardest difficulty when you do New Game Plus. Like, so you beat it on the easiest difficulty, then carry it over, it locks it into like normal if you're playing on easy, and then you go to hard and it locks it in there. So yeah. Actually, it isn't difficulty, it's just New Game Plus is what triggers it, but it locks the difficulty, so yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, we can discuss this when someone decides to bring up the topic, but I don't want to bring up my topic.
Yeah, we don't
so
need to
sorry.
anymore because we already talked
Yeah,
about
we
it.
Yeah.
talked about it. It's
Yeah.
over.
Never mind then. Sorry. Maybe I'll bring it up later. I don't know.
He's very adamant that we end this discussion
Yes.
and move on to the next
End
one.
this discussion because we're going to talk about lost media.
Which is, definition please.
It's media like movies, music, TV shows, video games, any of that general stuff that has been lost, like hard to find. Now, some of it's been deemed lost media, has been found when people bring it up. It's like, hey, this is lost. Can someone find it? And then someone happens to have it in their basement. It's like, oh, I found the tape. And it's like, it's found, but
What was once lost
Yeah.
is now found.
there's two channels that do a lot of lost media. There's one called Blame It on George, which I watch. That he he's done several lost media videos on. There's one that does occasional lost videos about lost media called Rebel Taxi, and they do some, and it's like, this is really cool, and I learned a lot about lost media through that. One that interests me, and this is for JoJo fans, is so if you don't know, JoJo is a really old manga released all the way back in like 86 or something, and the show and the manga is divided into multiple parts, and each part has like a new character. So instead of starting from the beginning, like a studio called APPP or AP4 decided to make a little like a direct-to-DVD miniseries for part 3.
But we haven't seen that one. Don't spoil things,
yeah.
please.
So, and what's weird is that instead of starting at the beginning of that one, they like start in the middle, so it was only really for manga readers to understand. And And then eventually later they released the rest. They animated the rest of it a few years later as like other stuff. Anyways, on the point, that was the only animated adaptation of JoJo that we had back then. And then, like in 2007, they said, okay, we're gonna adapt Phantom Blood, which is the first part, into a movie to celebrate the creator's 20th anniversary or to like whatever anniversary as a manga creator. And they made it, and the creator saw it. The manga creator saw it. His name is Hiroyo Araki. His last name's Araki. Araki-san saw it, and he's like, I hate this. Do not release this on DVD. Because one character that was like cut out that didn't have much time was Speedwagon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that was like a fan favorite character, and they just like totally like I don't think he was there for like the final battle. I think he was just there his first appearance, and he was gone. And also the ending was darker and didn't make any sense.
You know, just this is a little slightly off topic, but it's so weird how they never adapted JoJo like back in the days of like Dragon Ball, because it was a really popular one, wasn't it?
Yeah. JoJo was a really popular manga.
Like, why is it just barely getting adapted like nowadays?
You think they would start doing anime? I think maybe because it's too graphic. It's a pretty graphic anime and manga, so they might have. I don't know. It might have been graphic because Star Wars Crusaders adapted an OVA, which is original video animation, which is like a
Extra
what Japanese call direct-to-video thing. Some OVAs are like full series that are only on video.
Oh.
Yeah, and so it's not just extra episodes, but yeah, they were able to like get all like OVAs are able to get away with a lot more on TV. So that's probably how they were able to adapt it, because it was like
makes sense.
They showed more graphic scenes. And yeah, like since then this Phantom Blood movie has been lost, and people have been trying to find it since it was never released on DVD. The most we got is a 16-minute clip of what an art teacher showed for animation, and like a student got a hold of it and uploaded to YouTube.
Wait, where did that teacher get it though? That's the question.
I don't know. He just showed 16 minutes of
Weird.
it. And it's like, oh, so this is what it could have been. And even if it gets found, I don't think people will be like, oh, okay, because it's probably awful, let's be honest. But mostly because Phantom Blood isn't the best part and my favorite part in my opinion. But anyways, that's one interesting. But you guys got any other interesting lost media?
I got a couple I thought of.
Okay.
So I talked about this a little bit ago while we were streaming, just like last time we streamed. I got a couple, but this one I want to bring up first was the Pokemon Gold and Silver beta. That recently was released last year, 2019, and essentially what this beta was is during one of the big conventions like E3, for example. I believe this one was called Space World. They took a beta or a demo of Pokemon Gold and Silver, and they showed it off there, and that was the only time people had ever seen it. There's like some pictures of it, like some Pokemon that were never released or anything like that, like concept designs of Pokemon and stuff like that. And it was like playable there at that demo place too. And then however many years, roughly 20, maybe more than 20, in 2019, somehow, I don't actually know the story of how we got it, but somehow we got the ROM of the Gold and Silver beta. So it's playable now. Like, you can actually go and download this online and play the beta. And like, there's so many different like Pokemon in the code and stuff like that we never actually received. There's different designs of certain Pokemon that we got. The story was really different back then in the beta. It was almost going to be a direct sequel to Red and Blue rather than like a pseudo sequel to Red and Blue. Like, there's going to be like a lot of character crossover, a lot of this interesting stuff. It was really, really interesting. But I would say my thing that I was sad that we didn't get out of it the most, though, was the beta designs of Remoraid and Octillery. And I understand why they didn't design them like this. And it's because Remoraid was designed to look like a revolver.
Uh-huh.
And Octillery was designed to look like a tank.
Oh.
And I really love those designs because they're so clever looking They look, it's like a good design, really. But because they realized they probably should scrap that because, it's a kid's game, they can't have that kind of stuff in there. Now we just have some generic-looking fish and a generic-looking octopus.
We have the barracuda-looking thing in that evolves somehow into an octopus.
Exactly, yeah. It's a fish that evolves into an octopus. Like it would make sense if we had the beta designs, but like no one ever knew. Like everyone was just like, why does this fish evolve into an octopus? This is silly.
Yeah.
But now it makes sense. The other example of like lost media that I have two more. The next one though, this is a really, 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 really weird thing, and I bet if I tried hard enough, I could probably find these videos. But when I got my first PSP, like back in the day, they had this RSS feed on the PSP that you could like essentially download videos. And this was like roughly before YouTube or right when YouTube was like freshly made. And so these videos were probably from Newgrounds, I'm assuming. But I remember watching like all these little animation clips and stuff like that people would make. And they were just so funny to me and stuff like that. Remember, how I bring up Dan Marino every once in a while?
Yeah. The football player?
Yeah. It's because of one of those videos.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's like a little animation of some kids playing with like Tonka trucks and like Transformers, and like going like action figures and stuff like that. And then he's like, "Don't you want to come play with this, Jimmy?" He's like, "Yeah, I've got the greatest action figure of them all. It's Dan Marino, quarterback of the Miami Dolphins." And he's like, he has got a power drill, tools, and a sander, and all this weird like just like normal everyday items. So those are like his weapons or something. It was really, really, really funny though. I enjoyed it. But I've never been able to find them. I haven't looked too hard, like I said. I bet I could, because I'm pretty sure there was Newground videos.
Cole, Dan Marino's not the quarterback. He's the kicker.
According
to Ace Ventura, he's the kicker.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
That was so weird. I still love that show.
Speaking about Newgrounds and all the Flash websites, that at the end of the year, if people don't save that, that's about to become lost media. We're about to get a whole wave of lost media.
I know that like
That's
the Flash video games, there's a website out there that's dedicated to converting all those Flash video games to HTML5.
Yeah.
And they've already done like 10,000 of them.
Wow.
So we're not going to lose a lot of Flash games actually.
That's cool. That's really cool. I like that. But still, I kind of want to do a video about Flash games and release it on the month, just as they're about to shut down the Flash player. It's like kind of a funeral for Flash games. But HTML converting to HTML5, that's great. Also, all those cartoons, like I think they convert them into like a video player on Newgrounds, and like I watched one, it had a horrible had audio baked into it, so it sounded horrible while looping over it, and you can't click on any of the little Easter eggs on there, which kind of what
Flash video could do.
Yeah, which kind of is lost. But I guess if you reconvert the entire cartoon into HTML5 with all those clickable links, then it could, but that's really hard to do. Some creators don't want to really take the time to actually do that. They just rather throw all their animations up on YouTube and maybe throw up the Easter eggs as like a bonus video.
You know what's crazy? YouTube started as a Flash video service.
Really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, the original, I'm pretty dang sure that the original YouTube videos were Flash videos.
With like little bars and everything?
Yeah. That's really weird.
And then they thought, HTML5 is the future, which it kind of is.
Definitely is.
To be honest.
So, the last example I had was a game for the Xbox Live Arcade. Have you guys heard of the game show 1 vs. 100?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not.
So, they did a video game version of 1 vs. 100 on the Xbox Live Arcade. And essentially what it was there was 100 people that were all answering questions, and then there was one guy that was essentially giving the questions or something like that. So what you would do is you join up, and this when I did it, the game wasn't like released at all. It was almost like a beta, and you had to like sign up and like be there at like 9 p.m. Central Time or something like that.
Wow.
And like you had to be there right at that time. And I actually was able to join in like 3 or 4 times, and I got my dad to join up with me a couple times so we could see if he could guess some of the trivia too. And, like, it was really, really cool because, like, 100 people just randomly all over the world on Xbox Live got thrown into this big arena, basically. It's like a battle royale. Yo, 1 versus 100 is the first battle royale.
There's 101.
Oh.
That's not true.
But, like, what happened, what was cool, though, is if you actually ended up winning, you would actually win things like gamer score. No, excuse me, no. Microsoft points.
Whoa.
Not
Oh,
gamer
wow.
score. You'd actually win Microsoft points.
That's
So
still
it was
cool,
like
though.
a monetary, like,
You
better
could
than
win
gamer score.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, like, it was just so cool to me. Like, I don't know why, but it was just so interesting and neat. It was one of the first things, like,
And it never came out.
I don't think it may have came out.
I think it came out.
But it flopped when it came out or something. Everyone was hyped for the beta, but no one cared about the actual
yeah,
release.
I think it might be lost media now since
It
it
has
was
since
taken.
it has since been taken down and the servers
Yeah.
are down as well.
I was gonna say,
Also,
let's go
Scott,
find it. Let's play.
Another game
cannot do it.
that was taken down that really sad is gone, but hopefully I still have the hard drive is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
That's really weird how that one's gone.
And I know I have one game on the hard drive that I'm proud I have that I can pull up is Simpsons, the arcade game Simpsons that you can download on Xbox Live. Which
There's
actually,
a lot of like WiiWare games I wish I had. that
yeah,
are lost
all
media
those
now.
are gone now. Unless the developer comes in and says, hey, we'll put it on Switch, which they can totally do.
There's a
because
Pokemon game I wish I had, but there's no way I can get it.
there is one called I think there's an updated version called Rumble U. It's
I want
Pokemon
Poke
Rumble.
Park. I don't care about Rumble.
Poke Park.
Yeah.
Isn't that's a physical game though,
It's
isn't it?
not.
Oh, I thought
my-
it was.
Oh wait, Poke Park is, excuse me, My Pokemon Ranch. That's what the Wii shop game is.
Yeah.
And if you do that, it's essentially like you can like insert your games from the Pokemon from the DS, and you could get a Mew from it.
Well, you can emulate it now. Most of those games are emulatable.
But I want it on the Wii
Yeah.
though, so I can actually play it.
Well, you can emulate it on the Wii. Actually, you can homebrew hack it.
Well, I don't want a hacked though.
Yeah.
I want a legit version.
I know that's the only way to play it now.
Where I can
Nintendo-
someday I'll find a Wii with it on it.
Yeah, there's no way
Never
there's
gonna do
not
that.
a snowball's chance in heck that Nintendo will decide to re-release it in some form.
I know.
But what can you do? It's the sad part.
What could you do in the
Yeah.
ranch game?
I don't know.
I
I
think
just know you can like
you know-
insert Pokemon, and then if you insert 900 Pokemon, they give you a free Mew.
Whoa, cool.
That's all I know about it.
They've done several ways to give out Mew. It's like, anyone want Mew? We got a $20 Pokeball.
40.
40. Jeez.
It's a controller, basically.
Yeah.
Though. Like, it makes sense because the functionality of it, but the functionality for like an actual controller is very limited.
So I don't know if Zay has any, but one that I thought was really cool.
What about me?
He just,
Oh,
I don't know if Zay's
okay.
on it, but I got
Oh,
more,
sorry.
so I'm gonna keep talking.
do any of you guys have one to share?
Well, mine is kind of very broad, but I mean, I've known about this for a while, but I've recently just looked into it because of like podcasters, big podcasters bringing on musicians to shows and stuff. And one overarching theme that every musician has had to deal with, and I've looked into since you told us about this topic, I've looked into like tons of different bands, and this stems back probably to the early days of getting signed by record labels and having them approve what music can be released. But I would say probably at least 60 to 70% of all bands and musicians out there have, you know, I take that back. I guarantee you that every single person that has written music for a record label has unreleased tracks, and it could be anywhere from hundreds to thousands. Like, for example, the Beatles. The Beatles have so many unreleased tracks that I don't know if we'll ever get them because of like record label approval. And I think that one of the problems that sucks about that is like I listened to an interview with Post Malone, and I also listened to an interview with Oliver Tree, and an interview with are they called the Black Keys? Yeah, the Black Keys. And I listened to one with Steven Tyler, and they all said the same thing, that like the record label will listen to your music, and if they don't like one of the songs or whatever, then they just shelf it. Then they've shelved whole albums before, you know. Post Malone said he wrote like 80 or 90 songs and had to narrow that down to the 12 or 13 or 14, however many he released on his latest album. The Black Keys said they have several albums that got shelved by record labels, and then Oliver Tree has said that he's had the hardest time releasing music because the record label just won't let him. You know what I mean? They're just holding him back.
Yeah, all that music because the record label said no.
Yeah.
And
but
you can't buy back because they have the rights to it. Unless the label goes under and then you can buy it, but the chances of that are very slim if they're having success off you and several other artists.
I'm betting someday
Yeah.
we get the Beatles one.
Yeah.
Just because it's smart money-making opportunity.
Yeah.
Wow, look, we got all these unreleased Beatles songs. Here, buy them for $1,000.
And here's the thing,
Only on CD.
some
No,
record
excuse me,
labels
only on vinyl.
Yeah, only on vinyl. Yeah. Here's the thing, some record labels might have just thrown those away. Like
Very true, yeah.
Yeah, they could
there's
have.
like, they won't, like, this is bad. They won't care about that. It's like, that band may be famous one day. You might want to hold on to that.
Yeah.
Who knows? There may be several Beatles songs that the record label just threw out. But then again, Beatles did make their own record label.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah, and so maybe they just bought back all their ones from the other record labels.
I looked it up
Yeah.
online. They got tons of unreleased tracks.
Okay.
But one thing that sucks about like the old bands versus bands nowadays, like let's say that we were to write our own music and give it to a record label. Well, we could probably make copies of our own songs. So at least, we're legally not allowed to release them to the public until our contract expires. But at least we have the copies of music.
Yeah.
Bands back in the day when they had to do everything on tape, you
You have to pay for all that studio time.
exactly.
Yeah,
You got to
that's
pay
true.
for studio time. You don't own any of the equipment, and the record label is the one paying for it all. So they're saying, okay, well, everything that you do is ours. We're just
Yeah.
allowing you to make
Make it.
crap for us. They're like, it's almost like,
Freaking screw that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
and that's what
dumb.
sucks though is like.
Ugh.
You can't have any of those copies. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I just wrote 100 songs, and I either one don't remember how to play them anymore, or I've just lost them completely
Yeah.
because you can't have the digital download of it. if that makes any sense.
If you switch to another record label, the chances of getting those ones back are probably
Next to
slim.
none.
Yeah.
Slim to none.
because you could try to negotiate them, and they'll probably demand a high price. And if you're willing to pay it, you might get it back. But
Yeah.
that's if they even want to give it.
The only thing that I've seen as like an exception is when a musician or artist passes away, then the record label will throw together like a compilation album of unreleased tracks. Like
Yeah.
Mac Miller recently released a
Prince
new album.
has a bunch of. Well, I think Prince owns all his own songs because he's Prince.
Yeah, well, and they recently released, was it like a year or two ago, they released a Queen song, or maybe it was just Freddie Mercury.
Yeah,
I remember Zay showing me that
it's a
one.
Freddie Mercury song.
Was it any good?
Yeah.
It's pretty good. He's just him
Um,
by himself.
yeah, there's what was I gonna say? Yeah, Prince says he has like whole vault of music he owns that I think that they're just gonna slowly release over time. They have released 2 like demo tapes, of Prince, and also the Wu-Tang Clan album. What they did with that is they had just like they had an album called Once Upon a Time in Shaolin, and they purposefully did this. It would be auctioned off to the highest bidder, and no one will be able to hear it until 88 years into the future. So it's intentionally lost media. And guess
Wow.
who bought it? Who doesn't own it now because he's in jail? Martin Shkreli.
Who's that?
Really? He
He's
bought
the-
that?
Yeah, he's the
Oh, I didn't know
farmer
that.
bro guy who like had that AIDS medication, jacked it up like a
The price.
ton.
He just,
Yeah, jacked the price up.
Oh,
He bought.
What a
He-
dick.
He doxed
He's-
himself on the H3 podcast.
Yeah.
really?
And now
What'd
he's-
he say?
He's like, he said something like to the hinting at that, like they'll never catch me, or they'll never
Yeah.
put me away for like what
Yeah.
I really did or something.
Yeah.
It's like, dude,
Did
they
they investigate him after
live. Yeah,
So that was
he
it.
incriminated himself on the podcast.
On the H3 podcast?
Ethan's asked because he was like in the process of like the trial or whatever.
Yeah.
And he said something that incriminated him on the podcast, and then they used that, bro.
Freaking
What a
idiot.
dummy,
I gotta
dude.
go watch this clip now. Have you seen the clip?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you listen to it, like you could tell, it sounds
And-
super shady. It's like, dude, you just screwed yourself. Like, what are you
Idiot.
doing?
Actually, Wu-Tang also said that this person who buys it, they can totally leak the album online. They can do whatever they want. They can even destroy it if they want. And so I think Shkreli released like 2 tracks, but ever since they've seized all his property because like for, what is it, like alimony? something like that. They had to seize the album, and so now I think it's back in Wu-Tang, one of the Wu-Tang Clan members' hands. But yeah, we'll probably never listen to the album since we're all gonna be dead. If you're a Wu-Tang Clan fan,
The thing is like with that music though, like if it's held on for so long, think about recording a song now and not releasing or not being able to release it for like 10 or 15 years or something.
Yeah.
It's like you wrote that song at that point, like for what you were like feeling or whatever at that point. If it's like a song that means something to you, it's like okay, like I mean, if you get it like a few years later, like, well, I'm kind of different now. Like it's not really. I mean, it's cool, but it's not really. I don't know.
Yeah, I get it.
So say you got anything?
Do I have anything?
Yeah,
I looked up a bunch of stuff.
Anything specific?
What I guess the only thing that's always been really interesting to me are like Lost. They call them Lost episodes of
No.
of
Cartoons.
cartoons.
Yeah.
I've always loved those. Of like where people say that like scenes were too like grotesque or like scenes were too much, that they had to be like they aired it, but it was like they got a bad bad feedback, so they had to like edit it out or whatever. And then like some clip resurfaces online years later or something. It's like, okay. I've always thought that was really interesting.
There was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles episode. I guess it would be lost media now since DVD copies are out of print, but they didn't show an episode. This is like the early 2000s TMNT where it's like all dark and gritty. It was on 4Kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it was on Foxbox, later called 4Kids TV. And it was the one where Baxter Stockman was like trying to like getting a new body because Shredder cut him up, which is pretty dark for a kid's show. and he starts getting a new body, but it slowly starts melting, and it's like very disturbing even for a show like a kid show of that tone, a darker tone. It's like, whoa. But they put it on DVD. They just never aired it, but now it's like, actually some people did upload it to YouTube, so it's not really lost, but it was never aired.
See, those are cool though. I've always thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
Or like they'll record something and then like they end up never releasing it, but then somehow the recording or whatever they did somehow comes out.
Gets leaked or something.
Yeah, like the
cool.
Drake and Josh pilot had a different, I think the parents were different actors, and I think Miranda Cosgrove, instead of being their sibling, was like an annoying neighbor. And that pilot was lost for years, and then a few clips surfaced of it. And it's like, whoa, this is pretty cool to see. One video game I saw as lost media. Now, usually video games, when they're lost media, they're usually like either were canceled and not in a finished state, or
Rip Stars 13.
or they had like a beta version. Yeah, Star Wars 1313. Rest in peace. But there had a beta that like had a physical version and is floating around somewhere. One game that was interesting was a game called Primal Rage 2. If you don't know, Primal Rage is like that Mortal Kombat game with a Mortal Kombat style game with instead of humans, they're like giant animals like dinosaurs, a Yeti, like a snake. Yeah, that like it was a cool idea, and Atari was gonna make a sequel, but what was different about this one was that each animal had like a human form, and they were still made of clay. They like had like stop motion clay, and it was basically finished, but Atari shelved it because I think they didn't have enough money or something, and someone eventually found a cabinet that actually had the game in it. And
whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah, and it's
like a whole cabinet.
Yeah, and it's now playable at
like
one
a
location.
arcade cabinet, right?
Yeah.
Wow, that's insane.
It's now playable at one location only, but you can go play it. For a while, people had the ROMs and they like refused to like give it out or something, and people actually have tried to emulate it and it looked awful because it's kind of hard to emulate arcade games.
Yeah,
like, get them
very hard.
Yeah, but yeah, now it's like playable at one location. I don't remember where. I'd have to look it up, and I'm not even sure if it's still playable. But hopefully, someone like emulated the full thing.
Huh.
And another game that was like was going to be released, but EA canceled it because they bought the developer, which I can't remember the name. It was Thrill Kill, and it's a PS2 game, it's a PS1 game, and it was possibly going to be the first AO rated PS1 game, but I don't think Sony would have allowed that. But it was like a sadistic, gory game. It had like a dark, dirty tone. It kind of made you feel dirty, but like that's what people loved, like back in the 90s, that kind of stuff. You can look up whole videos about that. Everyone's talked about Thrill Kill, like as one of the most infamous canceled games ever. But EA was like, this game is sick and violent.
Well, while we were talking, I thought about some more stuff, actually. I brought up Star Wars 13 a second ago, which the story behind that was it was a game being developed, I just believe it was just by LucasArts, and they showed off some trailers and stuff like that, like some actual gameplay. It looks amazing. It's about a bounty hunter game in Coruscant, the 1313th story down into Coruscant, because Coruscant's an entire planet that's just a giant city, and like it just like scales all the way down. Like most of the planet is just like even like all the way down into the core is basically just like inhabitable area. And when you get down past like the 1,000th floor, it's like really, really like sketchy and stuff like that. So you're a bounty hunter in floor 1313, like doing something.
The bounty hunter that you're playing is
Django, isn't it?
Yeah, or was it Boba?
I don't know, actually.
Yeah,
it could be either
it's
or.
one of the Fets.
One of the Fets.
I think it's Boba. They said
Feds.
That's
Feds. Yeah,
the Feds.
the Feds. Yeah.
So behind this, what happened though was Disney was in the process of buying Star Wars, like the whole brand. And when they did that, they bought it, and then they scrapped Star Wars 1313. Just completely scrapped it, which sucks because it looked so good. It was at the point where I remember I was at my game store, and the SKU for Star Wars 13 was in our system. Like, that's how close it was to being done. Like, oh my gosh, it made me so mad.
Yeah.
I wanted it so bad.
Sounds like it was really smooth in development. Disney was like, no.
It was going to play similarly to like Uncharted, essentially.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was Star Wars Uncharted,
So
and it looked
you
good.
You would think today, though, like with like the big Star Wars surge, like everyone's like fanatic about anything Star Wars right now, that they would release it.
Oh, I don't know why they canceled it, because people were hyper that Disney was buying. Like, wow, something's going to happen with the franchise now. Yeah. But they just scrapped something that was like 3/4 of the way through development, probably.
And also, they scrapped it and also shut down LucasArts, just completely
pretty much,
cut down the company.
Oof.
There was a Star Wars game that it was an online dogfighting game only. Like like space dogfights, like airplanes, not animals, not animals.
I was like, jeez,
don't demonetize this YouTube.
This is a backyard like Louisiana.
When we say dogfighting, we mean like aerial combat.
Yes, like airplanes and stuff. Airplanes. Anyway, it was an online-only game. I don't even remember what it was called. I played the beta a lot. It was actually relatively fun.
Was it kind of like TIE Fighter or X-Wing?
It was kind of, a little bit. But it was like a big online, like 64 versus 64 players, like massive amounts of ships just flying around shooting at each other.
You know what?
They scrapped it. They scrapped the entire thing.
That game needs a remake. Is TIE Fighter. It's not under EA.
But yeah, Disney was the one that actually started this game. And then after the beta, they just scrapped it for some reason. It was so dumb.
I think the reason they probably did cancel 1313 is also because they were trying to make a deal with EA. I don't know why they would.
But they could have just sent the team to EA or something.
Yeah, I know,
Gave
but
LucasArts to EA. Like,
but I guess they didn't want to, so they were like,
so dumb, dude.
No, and just tossed it. It had promise too. Who was the developers?
Lucas.
No, it was
LucasArts, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Dang, son. And also, we'll never get a Mercenaries 3.
I've got one more thing, Scott. I know you're gonna say something. I got one more thing. What was your subject on?
About Star Wars.
Okay, you do it then.
Well, it's just a question. So, is the Star Wars Christmas special considered lost media?
No, you can find that easily.
No, it's up on YouTube now. Everyone has a copy by this point.
So,
well, not us, but you can look up on YouTube.
My next topic is kind of interesting actually, and it stems off of what Zay was talking about with lost episodes of TV shows. Now, I know a lot about Pokemon. We're going back into there just for a second. So there was a couple episodes of the anime, of course, are lost to America. They aired once in Japan or something like that.
Yeah.
For instance, like the Porygon episode, the episode where Ash got a gun pointed at his head,
Yeah.
and those kind of things.
No, that was the Safari episode.
The Safari Zone episode, yeah, that never came to America.
Yeah.
The beach episode, for example, that was highly edited or something.
Yeah. the story about the Porygon
No,
episode.
I'm actually gonna do the Porygon one. So
Okay.
I'm actually gonna go into that one.
Okay.
You had a
He's a
gun.
cowboy.
Yeah.
He's a cowboy. He's like, you poached Pokemon. What are you doing? You can't poach that thing. That's not
Oh,
yours. It was like a
He's like Clint Eastwood.
yeah, Clint Eastwood
Dude,
kind
that
of
Dirty
guy.
Harry. Yeah.
So the Porygon episode, they were flying around on Porygon, and Pikachu started zapping something. It made the whole screen start doing like a flashing animation, kind of like, and it caused a lot of kids to have seizures in Japan. So they never aired the episode ever again. And since to this day, Porygon has not appeared in any episode at all.
That's kind
Is
of messed
Porygon
up.
the cowboy?
No,
No.
Porygon the Pokemon.
Oh, okay.
This is a different episode.
Oh,
It's
okay.
The Porygon the Pokemon has not appeared in any episode of the
Gotcha.
anime because Pikachu shocked something and made the screen flash.
It
Because
wasn't
they
even
animated it
Porygon's
wrong.
fault. It was Pikachu's fault. He should be banned.
So that's what's interesting is
Maybe they associated him with that.
Yeah.
oh yeah
Like,
they
Yeah, they
definitely
did.
did.
No.
It's
Get him
kind
outta
of weird
here.
how they had banned Porygon from the anime entirely just because of that one episode.
And
Just-
that's in my
Is he
opinion.
in the games? Is he in
Oh,
the
yeah,
games?
he's in the games,
Oh,
he's in the
okay.
In my opinion, that's almost like a lost media because now
Yeah.
Porygon can't be in any.
I mean, the scenes up there. You can look
Yeah,
up
you
the
can
scene
find it
YouTube
online
and get a
really easily.
seizure.
Dude.
So the
look.
actual episode's not lost. Like you can
Yeah.
find it.
I'll have to go and look.
So the other thing I wanted to talk about with Pokemon, and this one's really interesting. So you guys know the Pokemon Abra, Kadabra, and Alakazam.
Yeah.
So in the trading card games, they were making Abra, Kadabra, and Alakazam all the way up until like Gen 3, and to this day we have not gotten another Kadabra card since Generation 3.
Because
So
some
those rare?
No, they're not that
douchebag
rare.
copied the
Oh,
word
okay.
Kadabra.
It's not that they
Alakazam.
copyrighted the word Kadabra. It's because Kadabra, of course, is associated with magic,
Uh-huh.
and there was like some kind of like a magic trick card that had Kadabra written on it, and that was copyrighted. So it's not that they really copyrighted the Kadabra word; they copyrighted like Kadabra being on a card, and so they cannot make a Kadabra card. So we will never get another Kadabra card ever again. So
at least until the
until it
copyright.
lives, yeah.
Yeah.
That
But-
guy is probably just like, you know what? I don't want these guys to enjoy this. I'm gonna,
Yeah.
What's funny
I'm gonna
though
put a hold on that.
is that when they made Mega Evolutions, Alakazam got a Mega Evolution, and the rules were kind of shifted a little bit so that you could play Alakazam. So they did make more Alakazam cards, but Abra and Kadabra have not gotten another card since then, just because there's no reason.
They had to
because-
find a way around it.
Yep.
Sucks.
And so I guess that's lost media as well. We're not going to get a Kadabra trading card ever again unless the copyright's lifted.
Won't it expire eventually?
Yeah.
So, the reason I wanted to do this topic, because I actually heard about this game on Reddit. Like, well, it was a video. It was like, and several people reported this, but there's this subreddit called Tip of My Joystick where people go in.
It's like tip of my tongue.
Not what you
It's on the
think.
tip of my tongue. It's on the tip of my
Yeah.
joystick.
They did that
Yeah.
on purpose.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be
Okay.
sexual
So
innuendo.
what the subreddit is a place where you go and ask like, hey, does anyone remember this game? I can't remember the title, and it says, oh, you're probably thinking this game. It's like, oh
There's
yeah, that's
people
it.
always there. I love it.
Yeah.
I wish it was a store. And then
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
walk in. That's what I would love even more.
And I kind of wonder if there's one for like movies and TV shows.
I'm sure there is.
Yeah, and anime, because I'd really like to. I'm pretty sure.
I'm
Reddit
gonna try
has
to
everything.
find out those videos I was talking about, the Dan Marino. I'm
Yeah.
gonna use Reddit probably to
Yeah.
find it out.
Yeah, but there was one post that a guy was like, "Hey, does anyone remember a game like Harvest Moon or Stardew Valley, where you kill your wife and you have to hide the body from the police?" And there,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Was he trolling?
no, he's like, I can't remember. I played this game a long time ago on some Flash site, and everyone was trying to figure out what game. There was a few games, but they didn't quite match up the description. And he said it was like a Flash game. He said it was like he downloaded the game. It wasn't on a Flash browser. Then one guy's like, "It was probably your dreams or something. You probably just remember this game, and like that was it." And so people kind of quiet down on it until someone else came up. It's like, "Hey, I remember this evil farming game where you kill your wife."
Oh shoot!
And everyone's like, "Oh, there's someone else made this post," and he's like gave kind of the same description. And then another guy came in and said, "Hey, and I remember this evil farming game? I actually do have it on this hard drive, but I don't know if
no way.
But I don't know if it works anymore." And eventually says, "I'm gonna go get it fixed." And he's like, "Bad news, guys, it's broken." And it's like, "Oh, we were so
no.
close."
That's cool.
But then eventually someone else is like, "Hey, I think I have that evil farming game on the hard drive. I'm gonna go find it." And that's been the story since. I don't know the updates, but like some people think that like there was like it was on a website with like shock images and shock videos, like gory videos of people actually dying, and there was a bunch of flash games, and
It's a roller coaster. Jeez,
Yeah.
Yeah, I love hearing stories like this. It's so fun.
you can look up. There's a lot more detail. You can look up like a video from the guy from a YouTube channel called Nexpo who did it, and there's also one from Wang. You know
Shout out to
that
Wang.
Yeah, that guy who looks like Steve Aoki, who does all the who talks about internet stuff. And yeah, that's the reason I want to bring up this, because it's like that's so interesting how like people like can like go on this whole deep investigation for a
There's
game.
It's actually the top upvoted thing on tip of my joystick.
Yeah.
The farming game mega thread.
Yeah. They actually
It's really
they
still,
actually
like,
did make a
popular?
It
subreddit.
started up a month ago.
They actually did
Like,
make a
Oh, it's not even that
subreddit.
old.
That doesn't seem like
I
it.
thought it was older.
They did make a subreddit for the evil
That
farming
community.
game, its own subreddit.
So
it
does
got really
anyone like?
popular.
There's no video or pictures of any of
Yeah.
it.
No, it's just a description, and people are still trying to find it. But since it's probably indie made and probably like was just uploaded, it like could be lost from the website, so it's possibly lost media. But there was another game they brought up that is actually lost media that people have played, that like popular Let's Players like Jacksepticeye and Markiplier played. And what it is, it's a game called Morai, and this was brought up because people kind of were trying to fit the description, but it doesn't involve like murdering your wife or anything. And you yeah, and you go into this mine. You're a farmer, and it's like I heard screams in the mine shaft, and you actually walk down and you see another player, and they have like this random text that says like, "Oh, big boy, you want some tonight?" or something. It's like, and then it's like, what the frick? And then you walk down, you see a dead woman, and you can either choose to, and she's like bleeding out, and you either choose to put her out of her misery or leave her there. And then you go,
Oh my gosh.
and then you turn back around, and you see another player that like looks like you, except he's not covered in blood. And you say like, "Hey, I heard some screams. What's with that blood?" And you can type whatever you want, and that's how the
Oh,
other
it just
person makes
rotates?
sense. Yeah, it just rotates.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Bro.
Just look, you can look up a video of it, because you can't play it anymore because a hacker took it off, like easily just like took it off there, and like
Hey, big boy, you want some?
but the guy didn't expect it to be so popular that he's trying to maintain servers, and the hacker kind of exploited. It's like, "Yeah, I just exploited it." And the hacker's like, and hacker emails the developers like, "Want to play my game?" And he's like, "No," and just shuts it down. And he works on other stuff.
Wow.
Another game that was taken down by the developer that is kind of quote unquote lost media, but not really because it's been cloned so many times. Flappy Bird.
Yeah.
OG
and there
Flappy
goes
Bird.
Ghost
True.
camera.
Like,
Camera Chan.
I
Yeah.
remember there were times that, like, when Flappy Bird were first taken off the App Store, people were selling their iPhones for like thousands of dollars, saying, "I have Flappy Bird on my phone. You can buy Flappy Bird." And people actually bought those phones.
And
The
then
original-
eBay was
originals
like,
never
"You
come
can't do
back,
that."
huh?
Nope.
Guys, want to know something?
Huh?
I have the original.
You're
Wow.
lying.
I have
No
it.
way,
Serious?
really?
I have it on my iPod. Huh?
Wow.
Whoa! Your iPod is worth millions,
Yeah,
eh?
dude.
Have you
I
ever
have
thought
the
about
original
selling
Flappy
it?
Bird. I'm not gonna. I don't,
And
we should play
I mean-
it on the YouTubes.
And
oh my god, you're gonna. I don't.
and if you go if you go find the Flappy Bird, it's like Flappy Bird and Friends or something. It's a completely different version. But yeah, the original Flappy Bird is like eBay even like stepped in and said, no, you can't do that. You can't sell your phone with just. People also did it with PT, which is also now lost media, which they sold PS4. People would sell the PS4s like I have PT on my PS4.
Why is that illegal?
Because you're selling, I think it's because you're selling the digital game.
Yeah.
I don't think it's legal to sell digital games like that. It's the same with like selling Pokemon. People online trying to sell Pokemon, that's also illegal.
Like just the Pokemon.
I mean, it would make to me
yeah.
it would make sense if it was an account you were selling, not necessarily the full console. I mean, if you're giving somebody the full console and the game just happens to be on there, I don't see why that's bad.
I think it's the fact that they're advertising as this console has this game.
Yeah.
Well, what if you just said, "Oh, okay, well, I have this console with
a bunch of games on it, and
like,
then I would talk to the person privately, like, hey, this is on here.
When it comes down to it, having a bunch of games is also illegal as well, because I think part of it is because you're selling your account. I think that's what it gets into, is selling your account, because those games would be on your account, and it's illegal to sell.
Okay,
an
that
account.
that makes sense. Yes, it is illegal to sell your account no matter what. But that makes sense. Yeah, because your digital downloaded games are to your account, not necessarily on just on the console, but they're downloaded to your account. That's why you can transfer your account and re-download games that you've purchased already.
Okay, I got one last thing.
Wait, just while we're on the Flappy Bird thing, did you guys ever read like the statement the guy put out?
Yeah,
that made it?
he hated how like people were addicted to it and stuff like that.
Yeah, dude, he was like sad about it.
He made
too.
the game 5 years ago too, and just put ads on it, and then suddenly people found it. It just became viral.
Yep.
That's so crazy, dude.
And then he started to get hate.
Yeah, he's like, dude, I've like this has been the craziest time of my life. Like I gotta stop. I don't know, dude. I wonder if he's ever released anything else.
He released an updated version.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought he released other games or made other games.
It didn't get as popular because it like had its flash in the pan.
Okay. So the last thing I have, of course, as you would expect, is Pokemon related. This goes back to Generation 3 and 4. And so the premise behind this is Pokemon does specific certain little events that are only to be done during a certain time period, and if you miss out on the event, you miss out on the Pokemon or whatever the prize is. And in Generation 3 and 4, there were some very exclusive events that you would go to, like a Toys R Us, and you would do the event, you'd get the Pokemon or the item in the game to go and find the Pokemon, and then you could get the Pokemon. Granted, nowadays, the reason why this isn't really considered lost media is because people can hack the game and do these events, but to have a legitimate version of doing them, that's like what's lost, is you cannot legitimately do these events 100% legally. It's not like illegal to do it, but like legally within the game, the bounds of the game. And then there was one within like the last year that was found. That was a very, very rare one. I believe it was Deoxys. So what this was is in Generation 3, so this is going to be like 2005, 2004, there was an event to go to, what was it? I think they were Toys R Us. There was 5 Toys R Us, I believe it was Toys R Us, 5 of them in America that you had to go to get this event. And what it was an item in-game that would let you go to a specific island to go and capture Deoxys, the mythical Pokemon Deoxys. And what's special about this is you could legitimately shiny hunt to this Deoxys, which is the only legitimate shiny Deoxys you can ever get in the game. Mind you, there's five Toys R Us you could go to. What was cool about this documentation, like journey, there was this guy that was like, "Oh yeah, I remember going to that Toys R Us with my brother. We both got it. I caught mine, but I don't know if my brother actually ended up doing like the event to catch his." They come to find out he didn't. The item was still in his game, and they were able to go to the island and shiny hunt Deoxys, which in my mind I believe is one of the only, if not the only, legitimate shiny Deoxys in the world.
Wow.
And that's just crazy to me. There might be some other legitimate ones, like Japan might have actually had shiny Deoxys events, but like shiny hunted Deoxys, I believe that is one of the only ones in the world. And like it's just cool because these events they're not legitimate. You can't do them anymore legitimately. It's so interesting to me.
Do you know where it was at, the Toys R Us?
It was Seattle. The one he went to was in Seattle.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Always in Seattle.
So
I know, right?
I've got one final question, I guess, before we wrap up for you guys, and I think the obvious answer for maybe all of us, but maybe it's different, is if there was one like store or chain or company that you could bring back that is now dead, lost, what would it be? And I think for mine, I didn't go to this place often. I think I went once in my whole life, but I would love to bring back Toys R Us. I think Toys R Us was awesome. I only went there once. Like I said, it was like Disneyland to me. But if I could bring back one, I think that would be one company I'd bring back.
I'm thinking about it. I don't know if I'd want to bring it back like it. Because in bringing it back, though, like it's going to be new and updated to be able to like sustain itself. Because like I think I would want to bring back like the older, like to the time frame version of it.
Oh, I see.
So I don't know. Do you guys got one? I'm thinking.
I'll say one. Hastings. I always liked
Oh,
the
yeah.
store Hastings, and it went out of business within like the past 3 years. That was always fun to go to. I had a bunch of the kind of stuff that I'm into, so that's why I liked it.
I'll say Funko Land. I don't know. That was like an old store back in the 80s.
Yeah, that's old.
Never even heard of that.
Have you ever been there before?
It died in the 90s.
So you never went.
No.
So you want to
Okay.
back
It was like a toy.
Okay, I'll
game
say
store.
Hastings too. I'll say Hastings
okay.
too. But Funko Land would be kind of cool.
Okay.
I guess another one that I would say is because you don't see these very often, at least where we're from, maybe in bigger cities, yes, but arcades. Like
Yeah.
a legit standout arcade.
That was one of the ones
Yeah,
I
I
thought
remember
of because you
one of
can
mine.
go. There are arcades you can
I
go to, that's why
remember-
I didn't, but
Yeah.
it is hard to find
Yeah.
them.
There was one arcade I had that I always want, like when we went to a town that was like 2 hours away from where I lived. I always wanted to go there, and my mom was like, "No, we'll go there some other time." It's called Treasure Cove, and it was an arcade, and I wanted to go there. It's kind of
Treasure Cove.
like it's like kind of like a little own personal Chuck E. Cheese, but I've never been to Chuck E. Cheese. So, but they did have like pizza and arcade.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's so cool. It's so cool.
There was an arcade
It was
in
open
Boise
for a while.
that I went to a couple times. It was really cool. I mean, I played like Dig Dug and Pac-Man there a lot.
That's cool.
It's a
Yeah,
blast.
well, and see, in the arcades they have nowadays, I feel like they have like 30 or 40% dedicated to like old arcade cabinets and video games.
I would
and
say 5%.
Yeah.
people,
it's
okay,
really
you're probably
5%.
right. And then the rest is just dedicated to freaking gambling for
machines, yep.
tickets. Which is stupid.
I hate that. Yeah, 5% arcade games.
And now it's not even real tickets. I've seen ones where like you just scan your
Yep.
card and like they get put
Those
onto
are
your card.
annoying.
Mm-hmm.
It's not fun.
It's like, oh my,
Yeah.
dude, like it's
There
just,
is-
there's no more. It's just way different now.
There is one arcade we've been to, still operationable as far as I know. It's like the nickel arcade.
Yeah, every game costs a nickel.
Yeah.
Yeah, but those aren't arcade games though either. They
Yeah.
were
No,
they
they're
were ticket
arcades.
ones.
No, they have arcade games.
Yeah, they have like
both.
straight
the
up.
one I went to
both.
anyway was just tickets.
No, the
Same-
one.
Well, the ones I've ever been to, they've had both.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why I said like 30 or
They-
40%,
they, like-
because I haven't been to that many arcades, but this one I'm thinking of
Gotcha,
specifically,
Yeah.
it had
You
quite
know,
a bit.
You know that quote unquote arcade in our town where you go skating?
Uh-huh.
That is like that percentage of tickets
Is
to
what you're
actual
thinking of.
games was what you will find.
Oh no,
most.
that's
Yeah.
I don't think there's one game in
there
there.
are. There's a couple.
Well, they
There's
suck.
like a Top
Bro,
Gun
that-
game. There's
that-
like a fake DDR game.
That's not even an excuse for not
Yeah.
to
No,
go.
that's-
It's
Exactly.
just-
I was like
so-
giving like
yeah,
the percentages.
Yeah. I'm just
though,
saying
yeah.
like
That
if you wanted to go somewhere like you got to drive because that's so bad.
that nickel arcade they had though, one thing I did find that was pretty cool in there was the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure fighting game in there.
Oh really?
It was
That's
called
interesting.
Is called Capcom released as JoJo's Venture for some reason, but the full title is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure: Heritage of the Future. It's based off Part 3. It's pretty cool.
Me and Cole are watching part 2,
Yeah.
Yay!
and I stayed awake, mind you, for most of last night.
Yeah, you guys should kiss.
I called him
Wait,
out
what
when
time
he
did
did
you
fall
guys?
asleep.
What
though.
time did you guys go to sleep?
I went to bed at 1.
One.
Oh.
Went to bed, but then I got like thinking about Pokemon some more, and I stayed up till like 2 or 3
Oh my god.
because I was like trying to find my Mew. I found it though. I found my Mew. That was almost lost media. Like that loop thing.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
Thane, you got anything else?
Are we almost up for time?
It's rap time.
Okay.
What's
you
funny
can
is
wrap us
Thane's the
up.
one that
Well-
normally goes, all right, it's time to
Yeah,
go.
it's time
Time's
to
up.
leave,
I
just
gotta
leaves.
go.
It's because
He just
I have the
leaves.
timer this
Yeah.
time.
He's got a burger
Um,
on the grill right now. He's got to go.
Yeah, I gotta go grill my grill burgers.
Grill my grill.
But yeah,
Thane, you're not playing that farming game. Whoa.
yeah,
You're gonna kill your wife and
Yeah.
hide her?
yeah.
She's in the grill, Thane. Or did you chop her up into
Oh, yeah,
your
the
grill
win-
burgers?
Someone gave the win conditions for that. Apparently, in order to win, you have to like keep hiding your wife's body until it fully decomposes.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Is this game made by a psychopath?
Is this a
Yeah.
flash game?
Yeah, this is a download game. They said it was like on an edgy website with like gore pics and
Oh,
stuff.
I
It's
bet it
like-
looks so bad though if it was like
Yeah.
a flash game.
Yeah,
but
it's probably pretty old, but
that's still crazy.
if they find it, I bet you a bunch of Let's Players are gonna play it because of its
Yeah.
its legacy now.
That's a good
'cause it's
point.
notorious.
So, anyways, that's it. That's all I got. If you have any other lost media you want to post, post down in the comments below. Also, check out the Lost Media Wiki if you're more interested in the subject.
Or if you want to share stuff with us, I think you should send it out in the Discord.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
join our Discord. Like,
It's
just send
popping.
out. Yeah, it's
We have some
popping.
funnies in there. We got a
Yeah.
good community.
Yeah, they'll come. They'll like you. They may do a little bit hazing, but once you get
It's
into
very
it, you'll
light.
find-
If you do
yeah.
it back, then you'll be accepted right away.
Yeah, yeah.
Not for kids. If you're younger than
Yeah.
13, don't join.
And also don't listen to the video. Jeez, whoa.
Yeah, we don't even have a kids Discord either, so it's not. There's no reason to even listen to this.
No kids YouTube.
Yeah.
Guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for joining in on our fun.
Like and subscribe.
Next week,
Or dislike.
next week we have Golf
Just hit
Wing.
some
1, 2,
button.
3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 6, 7, 8, 9 as the host.
I'll probably do what Thane did and just wait till the last day and then be like, yeah, I'll do this.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's kind of easy. You get topics
I
fresh in
guess-
your mind.
Real quick, do we want to like tell each other our topics like beforehand so we can kind of prepare in our minds mentally?
I think
or-
if it's something like
maybe
what Thane,
it
Thane
depends.
had,
Like
yeah.
that one
Yeah.
that Thane did, like I don't have anything, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on what it
Yeah.
is.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I could have carried that whole thing if you guys didn't have any.
Yeah, I
and you
think
guys
carry that
could've-
thing on his
yeah.
back, bro.
Yeah.
Me and Zayd Sky just take a nap while Thane just talks. It'd be the one man, one piece
Piece.
podcast.
One Man Lost Peace podcast.
Speaking of the one man, one piece podcast thing,
Cock pass?
you have any news?
I thought I was gonna do that this year, but then I realized, I have jaw surgery. I don't want to start something and then be out, and then miss a few weeks. So maybe I'll start it after.
Or
surgery.
you could do it while you're recovering. That'd be
So
interesting.
He's just talking like this.
Thane, should we film an episode of the podcast when you're at home? We'll just do like a makeshift setup with a cell phone and a camera and just record from your bedroom.
We'll just put a dildo on Thane's chair.
So Thane, so Thane, instead of mumble rap, you be the first mumble podcaster.
Yeah.
Bro, that'd be the coolest thing.
Reminds you of that one song. You know that one thing? Yeah, Thane knows it. There we go. I knew Thane would know it. Thank you so much for making me viable right there. Thane knew it.
That old song. I've
Yeah.
heard that before.
I thought you were talking about that one guy. Scrub-up-up-up-up. Sauce. Meatloaf. The black guy. What's
Well, sauce.
yeah.
1 + 2 + 2 is 3. That's 3
He
cooked
knows
bats.
Yeah, he knows it. He knows it.
Wait,
Three
Thane.
cooked bats. Da-ba-ba-ba-ba.
Skitty beep pop pop and the pull 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 pull.
It's supposed to be a
It's a
freestyle.
freestyle.
It's so dumb.
It's like, oh wait, what? He's like in a freaking like a radio station
yeah.
too, recording
That
this.
dude is.
No, for freestyle, it's not that bad.
What?
Thane,
That's horrible.
I could do my own freestyle where I just make noises and then say like random foods.
Yeah,
every
bro. I'll
once
go in
in a
there.
while.
Bop, shop,
I'll be the background pack.
Yeah,
Actually,
Hey.
on second thought,
Yo.
on second thought, if you want a good freestyle, look up the one interior crocodile alligator. That one's a good one.
bro, go listen to some Logic freestyle. That'll
Yeah.
blow you away. Or even Lil Dicky. Lil Dicky's really good at freestyle rap, dude.
Ha.
Yeah.
He's good.
Little Thicky's pretty
Shout out Lil
hot.
Thicky.
Yeah, he's got killer freestyle on a
And he's hitting on my
all-star
sister.
on an all-star backing track by Smash
Your
Mouth.
sister.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we love you guys.
Thanks, guys,
Here's a
for having
heart
a
for
good
you.
time with
I
us.
always do this in the podcast now, but
I hope your guys' Virgin Day was
My heart's
as
not
virgin
excited
filled
about
as
that good.
ours. No
It was
schmecks
like a
happen in this
circle.
house.
That's nice.
Except for maybe Thane. If anyone's getting laid, let's be honest, it's Thane.
Have a good week, guys. If you
that's okay.
if you have something funny happen to you during the week and you want to let us know about it, hey, just send it out in the Discord.
Yup.
And as Skylar says,
If you're gonna play Rapala Fishing, play it on the original Xbox.
that's
Yeah,
right,
and
boys
then-
and girls.
And then make sure to change your diaper as soon as you can so you don't get any rashes.
Raffle of fishing.
What are you the more Big Bass Pro Fishing?
I don't like fishing games.
Is it called Rapalas? I always call it Rapalas.
Rapalas?
Rapalas.
I thought we just said Rapalas.
Yeah, it's definitely Rapalas.
Sega
PH is not Rapala.
If you're gonna play a bass fishing game, just play Sega Bass Fishing.
Bro, let's play a fishing game. We're gonna do a
Yeah.
one-off of a fishing game.
Yeah.
Whoever catches the biggest fish has the biggest fish.
Yeah.
There's no camera.
Can't you just play Zelda to do that?
Oh yeah, the camera's dead. You point
Yeah,
at the
just play
camera.
Zelda.
Oh, I'm doing these hearts and stuff, but the camera's working.
It died 10 minutes ago.
Sorry,
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Have a fun one. Keep it rad. I'm still waving at the camera. I don't know why.
I'm gonna flip off the camera.
Whoa, Thane's naked.